All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, you see it on the screen here, guys, we got some blue Doflamingo action lined up for you today. We have not really messed around with this leader since the bans that were, the ban announcement. And this leader did lose a pretty strong character in the form of Jinbe. But at the same time, this leader's still doing just fine. You know, this is still, the leader's still doing just fine. It just lost a little bit of extra power that it used to have by losing Jinbe. So let's go ahead and hop right into this, guys. First things first, we're going to check out the deck list, and then from there, we're going to head over to the sim. We got 5 or 6 games lined up for today on the sim, and then at the very end of the video, we will check out the sim, the list one more time, and we'll wrap things up from there. Okay, so you know what you're getting into. I'll have everything time-stamped down in the general description, and I'll have all relevant deck lists and links and things like that in the comments section below. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put those down in the comment section below, or hop on the VB Theory Discord. Link is in the channel description. Now, let's do this, guys. Let's get right into it. Let me get this out of the way. Move this over, move the leader out of the way, and here we go. So I'm going to start off with the leader, then run through the whole thing, just for the newer players so they know what the leader does. It's a 5,000 power, 5 life mono blue leader with a Dawn ×2 when attacking pay 1 effect that has reveal the top card of your deck, and if that card is a 7 Warlords of the Sea and it costs 4 or less, you can play that card rested. That's a huge part of how this leader works. Now again, one more thing to the newer players. I'm going to mouse over every card as we go through this list. Be sure to pause and read what these cards do if you don't have any idea of how they work. And if you still don't understand after reading it, please do not hesitate to ask down in the comment section below or on the Discord. Now, let's do this, guys. So here's the leader. So we're running 4 Edward Weevil, 4 Perona, 2 Charlotte Pudding, 4 Crocodile, 4 Sengoku, 3 Jozu, 4 Gecko Moria, 4 of the 2K Counter Dracula Mihawk, 4 Trafalgar Law, 4 Buggy, 4 Boa, 4 of the Marshall D. Teach, 3 Red Rocks, and 2 Gravity Blade Raging Tiger. Now, I do already have some 7-cost cards up here, or already ready at the bottom here. There is a card I've been seeing a lot of people run recently, and it is this 7-cost Doflamingo. I am a big fan of this card. You can, of course, search it up with Sengoku, so this is something to consider putting into the deck going forward. With it being a 7-cost, 7,000 power character that bounces a 7-cost character, this is a very strong tech choice that you can add. It takes care of a lot of problems on the board right away, and then it's actually very hard to deal with at 7,000 power and at 7 cost. It kind of gets around a lot of the breakpoints, right? For example, in the mirror match, you have the ability to remove 6 cost characters in the form of Jozu and in the form of Gravity Blade Raging Tiger, and then even in the red matchup, let me go over to the red cards real quick. There's a card, Ben Beckman, and then also even Rayleigh that can KO 6,000 power characters very easily, but 7,000 power makes it a little bit more annoying. I'm not saying they can't deal with it. There are more power. There are more ways to deal with it with power reduction, but it becomes much more of a headache for them to deal with just to get rid of the one card we were looking at there, the 7-cost Doflamingo. Where did it go? There it is. Very solid card though. Otherwise, really good stuff here. That is the one card I would recommend trying to fit into the list. Another card that I used to run in the, quite some time ago was this 2-cost Perfume Femur. This is a good way to give your 7 Warlord stuff unblockable, and it's a 2,000 power buff, and if you combo it with something like Marshall D. Teach, it ends up being like a 4,000 power buff when you need it to be, which is extremely, extremely powerful. Okay, so there is an idea to maybe run just one of these in the list, but I don't know. It's going to come down to player discretion and things like that. And it also depends on what you plan on going up against. If you're going up against a lot of decks that are running blockers, then this card, Perfume Femur, becomes even better, right? So I'm going to run through the list real quick. Not much has changed. There's not any, like, extra cards I've added since OP10, or from OP10, I should say. These are all cards that have been around for a while. The 4 Edward Weevil, drawing us cards, flooding the board with a big body. Jozu, this was a card that I think not as many people were running when Jinbe was still in the format because of a few things, right? Jinbe was just probably arguably the stronger card, so you would just run the Jinbe over the Jozus. So I think what a lot of people did with their Doflamingo list, they'd make some small tweaks here and there after the ban, but the main thing was, okay, I'll just remove my Jinbeis because they're banned now, and I'll just go up Jozus or Gecko Morias. That was probably the #1 way to fix your deck moving forward, and I do think that's still pretty much how things are now. There are some other cards people are tampering with, like messing with now, so there are some other options, but that was probably the main idea was, okay, I'll get rid of the 4 Jinbeis I was running before, and then I'll go plus on Jozu's, Gecko Moria's, or maybe some 2K counters if they were only running like, 10 2K counters. Okay. Where were we? Okay, so the Edward Weevil, really strong here. We're running 4 Perona, of course. Only 2 Charlotte Puddings. 3. There's an argument to run 3 of these. I could drop -1 Gecko and go +1 Charlotte Pudding. It's just a really good card. It could just win you games sometimes. Like if you catch your opponent slipping where they have all these cards, like 10 or something cards in hand, you can just rip their hand away and give them a totally random new 5 cards. This card can just win games by itself. I could see going up to 3 of these. Running 4 Crocodiles, it's really just a searchable 2K counter, and it's a 4 cost 5K. We could cheat out with our leader, worst case scenario. 4 Sengoku here, 3 Jozu. Sengoku's a searcher, for those who are not aware. I run 4 Gecko Moria. I'm a big fan of this card, because if they remove my Marshall D Teach, like KO it somehow, okay, I'll just get it back with Gecko Moria. You know what I mean? I'll just snag the card back, and we'll just go from there. Because remember, guys, add up to 1 7 Warlords of the Sea or Thriller Bark type character with a cost of 4 or less, other than Gecko Moria, from your trash to your hand. Of course, this Marshall D Teach is a 7 Warlords of the Sea character. So pretty good synergy there. If they get rid of this card, or say they get rid of one of your bows and you need more blockers later, okay, you can snatch this back. Speaking of that, I'm glad I mentioned that. There are some blocker cards to really consider going forward, because there were some games where I was like, man, I really wish I had a few more blockers in the deck. I think there needs to be some strong consideration for Doflamingo, the 3 cost. I think this is a great card. I'm also a big fan of this 3 cost Boa, because it's a trigger. There's no triggers in this deck, really, other than the events. So it's like, okay, if we can add some triggers to the deck, that could add a layer. Like, it could make the deck a little bit more, it won't be as one-dimensional. You know what I mean? It'll add another dimension to the deck. And then we have Trafalgar Law. This is just a great quality 1 cost searchable 7 Warlords of the Sea blocker. There probably is one other consideration as well. Actually, it's a 4 cost Boa. Not many people end up running this card. It's a little gimmicky. It requires a little too much to do what you want it to do. It's a 4 cost 5K 1K counter blocker. That's already pretty good, right? And it's 7 Warlords, of course. And then it has the effect of Dawn ×1 when attacking or on block. You can draw 1 card if there are 5 or less cards in your hand. So that's honestly, that's pretty good, guys. It really is pretty decent, but it's really just a matter of like, okay, if I want to add this card, what am I going to replace? And if I'm going to replace a card, why wouldn't I consider running something that's a little more utility-based, like this 1 cost and 3 cost blocker here, or even the 3 cost blocker Doflamingo that sets my top 5, or even the 7 cost Doffy, like we were saying, to make the deck a little bit bigger, a little bit taller. And then there's also the idea of, there's a bunch of different ideas we can mess around with. So it's like, if I want to add this card, what do I end up replacing? It becomes a hard decision. Okay, what else? So we went over Jozu a little bit. This is going to let us bounce back our 1 cost cards. We have 12 1-drops in this game, or in this deck. We got 4 Sengoku, 4 Perona, 4 Buggy. Okay, so we're going to play one of those down turn 1, going first or second pretty much every single time. And then by the time we get to turn 3 or 4, we can actually pull the card back if it survives with a Jozu. Or if we're on a 7-dawn turn, if we're on our turn 4 going first, because they go 1, 3, 5, 7. So if we're going first and we're on turn 4, okay, well, we can actually play out a searcher and then bounce it back with the Jozu after, playing out the Jozu, bouncing one of our opponent's characters out of the way. So this card is just incredible in blue, guys. I'm going to be honest. This is just like a blue staple at this point. I would argue that Charlotte Pudding, Jozu, and some of these removal cards down here, they're just blue staples. It doesn't matter what version of the deck you're running. It doesn't matter what kind of blue deck you're running. If you're not considering Jozu, you're probably doing something a little bit off meta for the most part. Okay, then we have Gecko. I already explained this. Getting cards back is just really nice. That's right. That's where we left off, was on the Gecko. I was talking about the blockers. It would be nice to get some more blockers into this list, and I'll try to talk more about that towards the end of the video. We got 4 of this Marshall D Teach card. This card's really solid as well. I was never a huge fan of this card, but now I think we have to run it. Most people would argue you had to run it in the past as well. I know people are like, yeah, this card should have been banned. I know all the arguments, guys. I still wasn't a fan. It doesn't change the fact that I didn't really care for this card. And the way that I adjusted my list to the Jinbe bans, I basically removed 4 Jinbeis and put in 4 Marshall D Teaches, because my list already pretty much looks exactly like what you see here, but I was running Jinbe over Marshall D Teach. But either way, really, this is still a good card. I was never saying it was a bad card. I just didn't really care for it. And then we got 4 Boa Hancock. This is a super strong blocker here that has tons of value. 2K counter Buggy. Bounce Law, I've said this before. I think this is the strongest card in the entire deck. And I get it. People are going to say, well, no, the Teach is. My argument is Trafalgar Law, because typically speaking, what you're going to do is put the law into life with the teach. So you can start abusing this card. There are other options as well, I know, but this card, Trafalgar Law, in conjunction with Marshall D Teach, ends up just kind of being broken levels of value. Because imagine on a 10 Dawn turn, I guess technically you could do it on a 9 Dawn turn, but let's just say on a 10 Dawn turn, okay, play out Trafalgar Law, bouncing the Trafalgar Law to bounce your 4 cost out of the way, replay the Trafalgar Law, bouncing the Trafalgar Law, bouncing your guy out of the way, and then finally use out the Marshall D, or play the Marshall, not play, excuse me, use the Marshall D Teach's effect to attach 2 Dawn to your leader and put the Trafalgar Law at the top of your life, swing in, leader effect, pull out the Trafalgar Law one more time, bounce another one of your opponent's characters, and bounce one of your cards. You could choose anything at that point. But did you guys hear what just happened there with just this one card, the level of abuse? It's like, with one card, I'm going to remove 3 characters. If he has enough 4 cost or lower targets on the board, I can, with one card, remove 3 characters. Well, excuse me, with one card I can remove 2 characters, but if I combo with something like Marshall D Teach, I can get 3 out of the way as well. So it's a little bit obnoxious in my opinion. It is what it is. I'm not trying to argue too much about it, but I just think it's a little bit too powerful in my personal opinion. This card, by the way. And then we have 2K counter Draco Mihawk. Just a solid 2K counter, 4 cost 5K 7 Warlords with a Dawn ×1 draw 2 trash 2, fix your hand. Really good stuff there. Okay, well that's the list, guys. Let's go ahead and see what it can do. First game up here we have against Red Green Smoker. That's right, guys. Let me get my camera back to where it should be. Let me go full screen. Volume is off and speed is on 2x, and here we go. So like I said, we have 5. I recorded 5 games for today's video, but then I had 1 extra Doffy game just laying around. So we got 6 games for today's video. Red Green Smoker is going to go first. They do prefer to go first, right? That is kind of what they're interested in. But we're going to go second, which is not too bad here. We're going to play out the Perona, set the top cards the way we want them. They're going to play out the Sanji. We're going to go ahead and swing for 8 here and play out the Edward Weevil and pass the turn back. We're going to... When it comes to this deck, guys, you want to save your board. Take as much life as you can. That's my personal recommendation. So 2K to get out of that. We'll take that hit there. Got a red rock trigger that can bottom deck a 4 or less. There goes his on KO effect. We're going to swing 5 into face here. I'm just going to bounce this card back to life, guys. I'm going to play out the Jozu here, bouncing their Sanji back to life, and I've got a 6K and a 7K on the board. They're going to play out Smoker. Very nice. I think they're going to hit me with a 4-cost Mole Gun here, getting rid of my Edward Weevil. Very nice. And they're going to swing for 5. We're going to 1K. Or did we take that? Excuse me. I think we countered out of that. Hang on. Let me check real quick, guys. I'm sorry. It's going a little too fast for me here. Okay, yeah. So they play out the Smoker, use the 4-cost. Couldn't they have gotten rid of the Jozu? I feel like they could have gotten rid of my Jozu, guys. I think that would have been a better call. And then we do 1K counter out. Okay, here we go. So now we're on an 8 Dawn turn. We're going to play out the 1-cost Sengoku. We're going to swing for 6, swing for 7, and then we're going to bounce the Smoker back. And at this point, you have to really ask yourself the question, I wonder if it'd be better to just run Boa Hancock as a leader over this leader, because we're just doing bounce house shenanigans here. Okay, 8 and a 7, 2K obviously. Yep. Again, it's all about defending your board and taking every single hit to life, unless it's like a 5K poke and you have plenty of counter you can counter out. Yep, we'll counter out of there. They have 3 Dawn left for the turn. What are they going to play? They're going to play out a Monet. Okay, no problem. We'll play out this Perona. Oh, nice. We got a Trafalgar Law on the top of our life. Or excuse me, on top of our deck. So now we're going to swing 7 into face, playing out this card, bouncing the Perona, and then we're knocking them down to 7. Okay, so pause. They actually just gave me a hint right there. When they use that trigger, it's like, wait a minute. So you're saying you don't have much counter power in hand? At least that's what's going through my mind. It's like, okay, you basically admitted to me you don't have much counter power in hand. So now I'm going to go all in here. I'm going to punish them as much as I can. Here we go. So we're going to swing for 8 and a 6. He does give me a Rad Beam. Okay, that's fine. Now I'll go ahead and take out your board. So they were kind of tricking me there a little bit, but they couldn't do a full, they saw I was going to go all in, pause, so their hand's gone. They have 1 rush card. Our board's completely full. This is game over. But they had 1 opportunity there to kind of bluff me to see if I wanted to go all in or not, and I was going to, by the way. But in the end, we ended up getting out of, once we saw that they couldn't quite get out of our biggest attack, okay, now we can focus all the rest of our attacks into the board, take out their board, play towards next turn, and we were in insane position there, right? We were in an absolutely incredible position. Okay, so that was the first game we had against Red Green Smoker. Now we got a game versus Blackbeard. Volume is off, speed is on 2x, and here we go. Blackbeard, I think, does struggle with this leader right here against Doflamingo, because you can just flood the board so much. Now, if they see enough of their removal on curve, like, you know, the 4-cost Shiryu maybe early on to deal with something, but realistically, like, the most important thing being the 6-cost Liberation or any triggers from life that can KO our board, it becomes very powerful. Okay, so they didn't use turn 1. They did not Blackbeard did not play anything on turn 1, and they did not use their leader effect, which is a little bit greedy, but at the same time, I couldn't really punish them too much right there. So they're going to swing for 5 and a 5. I am going to save this card here to the best of my ability. They're going to play out Shiryu. They're going to get rid of my Martial D Teach. Seems good. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Okay, we're going to swing for 7. That was a blind rip off the top. We get a Trafalgar Law. He did turn off our on-play effects for the turn, so I cannot bounce back their Shiryu, which I would have, of course, if I could have. Okay, now we're going to swing for 7. They did counter out of that one. They're down to 3 life, and guys, I've got 2 bodies on the board here. We're not in the best position. They can probably remove most of the stuff that I have on the board next turn. They were considering a trigger at the end there, guys. That was not me waiting to pass the turn. They were waiting for a trigger that entire time. Okay, we're going to get out of one attack. It was 2 6K attacks. We'll get out of one of them, and then they come in with Liberation, getting rid of the, it was probably a Finger Pistol to get rid of the other one. Okay, we're going to swing in for 6. They did turn off our own play effects. We're just going to slam down a Jozu. I just need the biggest character on the board that I can get while swinging with my leader. They're down to 2 life, guys. They are down to 2 life. They're going to play out a Kuzan. What are they going to cheat out here? What's going to be the play? Maybe a Van Augur, but I don't think they can remove. Yeah, so it's a Burgess. I was going to say I don't think they can remove my Jozu now. What they have left on the, you know, with how much Dawn they have left. So right here, they're going to go ahead and play out the, they're going to swing for 6 with Shiryu. We're going to take that. Now they're going to swing for 7, and we're going to take that as well. We get a Red Rock there, guys, but we're actually going to save that, right? We could remove this Burgess, but why would I do that? Do you guys see what's in my hand right now? Does everybody see what's in my hand right now? We're not going to worry about the Red Rock on the Burgess here because we have a Gravity Blade Raging Tiger. And we actually have an incredible turn. So, guys, what's my turn here? I'm on a 9 Dawn turn. What's my turn? Guys, use your minds here. I'm going to give you a hint. The turn is going to start off, okay, we're going to swing for 7 first. But then after we swing for 7, what are we going to probably do here with exactly 9 Dawn? Okay, with exactly 9 Dawn, we have a few different things we can do, but it's probably going to revolve around my 7-cost Gravity Blade Raging Tiger to completely slow my opponent down. And then I can also even play out a Martial D Teach after that and swing for 7 more with my leader. So this is one of those turns, guys, where it's like, okay, I don't know what my opponent is supposed to do to stay in this game, right? We're in a position here where we kind of drew everything we needed. So we're going to swing for 7 here. They're going to take it. Potentially a trigger here, waiting for a trigger. Nope. We're going to swing for 7, and then we're just going to Gravity Blade here and get rid of those cards. So I could have played out the 2-cost Teach there to buff my leader and swing for 7 and just set things up next turn. But right here, okay, well, what we're going to do in this situation is play out the Teach now. We're going to put the card we want there, attaching to. They did not use their leader effects. We're going to remove their card, and we're going to play out the Edward Weevil. Now, because they didn't use their leader effects, I did get to draw an extra card, but that's not going to play any factor in this game. I would have just not had the extra 1K counter in my hand. I think I drew a Jozu for the turn. Okay, they're going to swing for 5. We're going to 1K counter out. And now what, guys? I have no idea. So swing 9, swing 11, GG. Or 12. Swing 9, swing 12, whatever. Okay, no way they're getting out of that. Good game. Again, yes, they did make a mistake by not using the leader effect to turn off my on plays to draw a card with the Weevil. But it didn't matter because, I mean, look, the card's still in my hand, right? I think it was a Jozu I drew for the turn, and this turn we were just going to go all in. And if he had gotten out of the 9K attack, no problem. Then we can just swing 7 with our Martial D Teach, right? So we just kind of had them up against the, up against the ropes here. Okay, good game to my opponent there. Let's go to the next one. We got a game versus Purple Luffy. That's right, Purple Luffy. I think if you can take first away from them, your life will be a little bit easier. But it's not like you can't win going second. We're going to be going second in this game here. We're going to play Sengoku out. Then we're going to play out the Buggy to set our cards the way we want them. And there we go. So they have no turn 1 play, which is good for us. They had no search or anything like that, like Trafalgar Law or whatever they might be playing, maybe the 1-cost event. They're going to swing for 7. We get a Red Rock, which we're pretty happy about that, right? We do like having Red Rock in this situation. We're going to swing for 7. They cash it on that blocker immediately. We get the Edward Weevil. We draw a card. We play out Sengoku. We draw more cards. And yeah, we're doing pretty good here. We're in a pretty good position here. A 4-cost Charlotte Pudding would be really nice for us coming up here. Okay, swinging for 5 here. Actually, they are already down to 6 cards. Maybe it wouldn't matter that much. Man, that Gravity Blade Raging Tiger is like one cost away from being so perfect in these situations, but we only have 6 Dawn this turn anyway. Jozu would be incredible right here. Having Jozu would just be incredible because we would just bounce the Sangoro back to hand. We don't even care about it. We're going to play out the Martial D Teach here. Excuse me. We're going to set a card to the top here. We're going to play out. Hang on. Pause. So we put the Trafalgar Law into the top of our deck. We played it out. We played it out and then bounced back both of our searchers so we can set up more, more plays for next turn. Okay. Now we're going to swing for 7. Okay, he gives us a 2K1. He gives us a 2K. We'll play out the Sengoku here, and then we go ahead and pass the turn. I was thinking about setting my top card with a buggy after doing that Sengoku search, but I decided against it. It's like, no, let's keep as many 2K counters as we can. Okay, 8 into 5. I'm actually going to say, hey, man, I'm just going to counter out of everything. I'm not going to let you just have anything on this board for free because I have so much tempo right now after all the card draw and stuff we just did. I'm going to force him to play something crazy here. Like, he's going to have to do, okay, 5 into 5, give a 2K. Again, we're all in at this point, guys. We are fully committed to what we're doing on the board here. And watch this. Watch this, guys. They're going to play out a Bon Carré. Okay, well, I've got 8 Dawn. So let's go ahead and just poke them down. Let's see what they give me. Swinging for 5 into 5. They give me a 1K. 6 into 6, he gives me a blocker. Okay, Grab Blade. There goes the rest of your board. Attach 2 Dawn to my leader here. You know, putting Boa into my life. That was all from the Martial D Teaches effect. Playing this card out. We're swinging in for 8. They're going to take that, and now it's their turn. We have 4 life. Our board's completely full. We have double 2K counter in hand. I'm in a very good position here. But I will say, and we have a Red Rock in hand. We kind of have all the answers we need at this point. So they're going to go 8 into 6. We're going to let that card go. And now 5, we're going to save that card. I'd rather not lose my entire board here if I can help it. And now let's see what they play. They still have 10 Dawn left. What are they thinking about? Maybe a 9-cost Lin or okay, they're going to play out some blockers. They're a little bit scared here. Playing out the Kamazo, I do not agree with that in this situation here. I'd rather them have just swung more into the board. Like, they could have swung for 9 and 8 or something like that, 8 or 9 or something like that into the board, and I think that would have been a better call because then they'd get to keep their 2K counters. So, okay, you've given me a 2K counter, and you have a 6K blocker on the board, so I have to swing for 6s and 7s here. I don't really have a choice. They're going to Gum Giant to save as much as they can here. Let's see what we choose to do now. We're just going to Red Rock that card off the board, play out the Sengoku. It looks like we're going to grab the Trafalgar Law, use the Teacher to put the Trafalgar Law into the top of deck, swing for 7, play out over a Sengoku, bouncing Sengoku, saying, hey, you can have that 2K counter back now. He's going to block and cash in on that right away, but hey, that ended up being a 4-cost KO a character in that situation there. Okay, here we go. They're going to play out a Searcher. Again, my board looks very strong. And, okay, they have another 4-cost Hitakiri Kamazo. I don't know why they're playing this out. Are they trying? I think they're really, really trying to get rid of my Martial D Teach. Okay, then that had to have been a blunder, right, guys? Just play it like that. And I'll let him have it, by the way. He can have that card. Okay, swinging into that, we're going to let that go. Swinging into that, we're going to let that go. I think we should have saved the Trafalgar Law. Okay, they're going to go ahead and just end on that. They were bluffing. They had no counter power. We were just going to go 7-7, everything else on the leader, GG. Okay, good game to my opponent there. Next up, we got a game versus Red Shanks. I try to get nothing but pretty meta matchups for today's video. Whenever I play the more meta decks, I do try to get more meta matchups. It just makes sense, right? Because I know some people get mad at me when I play the off-meta stuff into other off-meta. It's like, well, guys, I mean, it's in the correct category, right? All of the decks that I feature on this channel, I don't think they can all win you a Nats or a Regionals, right? Some of these decks we're just trying to have fun with. So we're going to play out the Sengoku to draw first. Make sure you do things in the proper sequencing. Sengoku first to draw a card, and then Perona to set your next cards, okay? Because if you do Perona first, you're going to mess up everything you just searched up. Okay, so we're going to play out the Trafalgar Law. I'm considering pulling back the Trafalgar Law, and I should have done that, but I got him to use a Red Hawk early on. That was actually very good for us. I'm very happy about that, and now I got the Sengoku and the Perona right back. So he lost a card from hand. Yes, we lost a Trafalgar Law from the board, but we got to play out the Perona now, and we get to do another search with Sengoku if we have to. So we did set these cards here. I think I might try to do a Jozu. I kind of like a Jozu play here, honestly, but I don't think that's what I choose to do. We play out the Boa. We're going to play this card out, playing out the Edward Weevil. We're We're coming in for 7. He's going to get rid of the Boa with the Lucky Roo. That's fine. Again, we're getting cards from their hand, and our hand is still absolutely monstrous. We're going to 2K, 1K to get out of that. They're going to play out the Tony Chopper, and now we can do some stuff, right? Now we can do some stuff. We have 8 Dawn. We can use this Jozu. We can do all kinds of stuff here. So we're going to swing for 8 to start off. Okay, and I think I did set my top cards, right? I can't remember how far back I set them, but apparently I knew what was coming. So I play out the Boa Hancock, and that's going to let me... So this time they did minus 1,000 power with their leader effects to my leader. So remember how that works, guys? I will talk about this more in just a second. We're doing a win attacking effect, and that's going to trigger first. So we play out the card with our win attacking effect. However, our on play effect from the character we played out from our win attacking effect is still waiting for their turn to resolve. Before that resolves, it is now the Shanks priority. They get to choose their once per turn effect that triggers when we attack. Okay? So that's how that happened right there. And now we set the cards afterwards and give us a Dawn. They take it. Any trigger, no trigger. We're going to play out the Sengoku. We're going to play out the Perona. We're setting things up exactly the way we want them. I'm going to grab Gecko Moria. And I'm actually searching for my, where is my, my Marshall D Teach here. Because we could do some extra tricks if we had the card. So we're just going to go ahead and, what did I just, did I miss something, guys? Hang on. Okay. Oh, okay. They played out a Rayleigh. I was yapping too much. So we just said, yep, Red Rock, get that Rayleigh out of here. We're not playing that game. And now we're going to swing in for 8. We know what card's on top. It's a Trafalgar Law. So watch this. So they're going to use the leader effect. They're going to go -1 to our leader. So we use the Trafalgar Law to bounce back our Perona, bouncing back their Lucky Roo, or excuse me, their Chopper. Now we're coming in for 7. And they use their leader effect, and they get out with a 2K, 1K, I believe. They're going to go 7 into 5. That's fine. 9 into face. We'll take it. Red Rock. Get these cards out of here one by one, lining them up, taking them down with Red Rocks. You'll love to see it. And there we go. So now we have a Marshall D Teach coming after this turn. So we're going to swing for 7, playing out the watch. Okay, pause. Pause. It was very relevant what I was telling everybody earlier. I did my win attacking effect to play out Trafalgar Law. And so that's on the board now, right? Now, before the on-play effect happens of that Trafalgar Law, they have to use their leader effect first. They have 2 Dawn active, by the way. I wonder what they might have in their hand. So we swing in for 7. We do our win attacking effect to play out the Trafalgar Law, but he doesn't get to use his on-play effect yet. Now my opponent gets to use their on-opponent's attack effect to drop a power of one of my characters or leaders by 1,000 for the turn. They chose my Trafalgar Law. Okay, I know he's running the Red Hawk tech, so we're not gonna get caught slipping this time, right, guys? Okay, Trafalgar Law bouncing back my Trafalgar Law and my Perona. Coming in for 7. Okay, now they don't get to hit the card with a Red Hawk, right? So that's what was going on there. They are going to play out an Uda. They grab a 2K counter Hongo, and let's see what they choose to do next. They still have 9 Dawn, but we don't really have any relevant targets on the board. They're going to swing for 7. So we are going to respect this attack and give him a 2K, 1K here, just in case he chooses to go in for 9. We'll take the 7. That's fine. And now we'll go 2 into 2. He's not going to save that. There's no reason. And now here we go. We get to do a lot more stuff here. I'm really trying to decide how I want to do things here. We're going to play out the Edward Weevil. We draw a card. We're going to play out the, I think we should play out the Marshall D Teach. Yep. And now we can put a card on top. We're going to put that, we put the 4-cost Law. And now we're going to swing in for 7. Let's see what he chooses to do here. He's going to use the leader effect in the same way he's been doing it. We're going to pull back a card, but he'll probably get rid of my Marshall D Teacher. That's completely fine. We're going to play out a Perona. Very nice. We have more Marshall D Teachers coming, but more importantly, we have a Gecko Moria we can play out to get back another Teach, and we have so many different options now, as long as we get that Grab Blade, but it turns out that was not really the best choice. I thought we were going to need to remove a few characters from the board this turn, but he ended up having a 7-cost character just out of range of what we needed there. We're going to counter out of this. We don't want to go too low because it is getting late into the game. We swing 2K into 2K to get rid of that. And now we're going to play out the Gecko Moria. We're going to grab back Marshall D Teach. We're going to play out Marshall D Teach. We're going to play out the, we're going to put the Trafalgar Law into our deck. And then we're going to push back both of our searchers. We're coming in for 7. They take it. We're going to replay both searchers. It just becomes infinite value at this point, guys. It just becomes pretty much infinite value. So we'll take that. Seems good. And now we're going to go ahead and adjust our cards the way we need them and pass the turn back. We did have 1 extra Dawn that turn. We could have swung for 8 technically, but that's okay. They play out a Shanks. That's not what we wanted to see. Yeah, so that's not what we want. As it turns out, we did not want to see Shanks here. We're going to take that hit. That's fine. We need another Red Rock in this situation. That would be really nice, but we don't have it. So let's see what we can do. We're going to probably play out some Perona here to see what we can put to play out for the turn. We do have a Teach on the board, but I don't really have any good cards in my hand to put into the top of my deck. I could go Gecko Moria and get a blocker here, and I think that's what we choose to do. Yeah, we're going to grab the blocker here. Okay, again, I don't think we're even going to use Marshall D Teach this turn because I have to do things in a very specific order. I like the cards I have in my hand. I'm a big fan, so I just need to be able to cheat some cards out here and keep up the tempo. Yeah, see, I have my mouse over the Marshall D Teach, and I'm like, you know what? I just don't need to use it right now. We're going to swing for 6. We'll replace the Perona, get down the Jinbe, and maybe next turn we could try to go for lethal. Okay, so he uses his leader effect and does a 2K counter. Seems good. And we have a lot of counter power on the board, guys. We have a lot of counter power on this board. They're going to -3. Okay, they're actually considering going for lethal here, guys. I don't know if that was the right call when they have 2 life left. They just used 2 2K counters. They have 2 life. They can eat up my board a little bit, at least in my personal opinion. But here we go. They're going to swing for... Okay, slight miscalculation, but it did not matter. Guys, I know. So they swung for 6 there. Let's go back and talk about how this turn should have gone. Please do your math. There is a way to calculate to see how you can swing 3 bodies accurately with what you have. So this situation, we have 6 Dawn left for the turn, right? So we have a 5K attack, a 7K, and a 12K. Well, let's just break it down. So the 12K is as big as we're going to go, right? So let's just do, so that's going to be 12. So let's just exclude that number. We have a 5K and a 7K on the board with 6 Dawn. So that's going to be 5 plus 7 is 12. 12 plus 6 is 18, right? So that means we're going to be able to swing 9, 9, 12. Or we can also just do 7, 11, 12, if that's what you want to do. There are multiple options here, but 12 is going to be the top end of that every time. You can't really change that. So watch what our opponent does here. They swing for 7. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. Let me hit play. They swing for 7, and we 2K, 1K out of that. Then they swing for 12 when they only have 11K left for the turn. Now, let me pause. We drew the Gecko Moria, but we had exactly enough to get out of 11K because it was 2, 4, 6. Gets us to 11 plus a 1K. We had exactly enough to get out of 11K. Okay, so good game to my opponent. That was an interesting attempt there, trying to get rid of my entire, my blocker power there. But we had plenty to get out of it, and now we're going to get rid of that card and pass the turn back. And, of course, from here, it's not over yet. We still have to calculate lethal just right. So I think what we're going to do is swing for 7 here. Okay, they use that in 2K counter. Okay, very nice. Now I can just swing for 6s. I'm going to swing 6s all day here, guys. I'm just going to do what I can. Actually, now that they took that hit, we're going for 7, and now we're swinging for 9. He's got it or he doesn't. Okay, we swing for 9. He had 2K counter left in hand. Good game to my opponent, and look at that. They had a Goldie Roger in their hand as well. Whew, that would have got ugly if it had went one more turn. All right, next game we have against Yellow Eustace Kid. Volume is off, speed is on 2x, and here we go. And then we have one more game after this versus Nami. Just a random game versus Blue Nami. Okay, so it looks like we're going to go first here. We're going to play out the Perona. We're going to set things the way we need them. I want to be able to draw the pudding for the turn, play out the Weevil with our leader effect, drawing into the 6-cost Red Rock, and then going from there. Okay, they have a 2 Dawn turn. Let's see what they have. Okay, so they get a Monkey D. Luffy here. Seems good. We're going to do our normal game plan. Swing for 7. We draw a card with the Weevil after playing it out. They end up getting a trigger to get rid of my Weevil. Seems good. That was actually very good for my opponent there. They play out a Basil Hawkins. They give him blocker. We're going to do a Perona top search here. Where are my 4-cost Trafalgar Laws, guys? 4-cost Trafalgar Law would just go absolutely crazy in this situation, and it's unfortunate that I'm not seeing it, but hey, it is what it is. We're going to swing for 8. We're going to play out the boa. We're going to set the cards the way we want them, and then we're going to see what he does. Excuse me, we're swinging for 9. He ends up blocking. We lose a life. That's fine. Now he cannot give his Cavendish blocker, but it's not going to matter anyway because we have a Jozu in hand. And let me say this right now, guys. If we had Trafalgar Law, that whole turn would have gone differently. Okay, so they go ahead and use the Nami to get rid of my boa here. That's why I swung with the boa first, and they did not have a trigger in hand. Whoopsies, that was a play mistake. We're going to bounce that card back to hand, playing out the Jozu. They rip a life. It was a Red Rock. That was probably the worst case scenario for us. You need a lot of Red Rock support versus Yellow Eustace Kid, guys. They have a lot of ways to deal with your, or to get big characters on the board. So in this situation right here, I don't have 10 Dawn. I wish, if I had 10 Dawn, I would actually just go Charlotte Pudding here in Red Rock to get this card off the board. But hey, it is what it is. Let's see what we choose to do here. We're going to swing for 7. Let's see if he wants to counter out of this aggressively, because we might not attack anymore if he does. He chooses to take it aggressively instead. He's got a 5-cost on the board now. This person's playing very aggressively. So we're going to go ahead and put a card on top. We're going to attach to Dawn. So we put the card on top of our deck with Teach. We're able to attach 2 Dawn to our leader for free, swing in with leader effects, putting the exact card we want down, using Boa to fix the top deck for next turn. They actually used their beige there. We weren't going to, guys, we were not going to, there was no way we were going to swing with Boa in this situation because we're set up to win next turn. Okay, so let's see what happens. They're going to go in for 5. We're going to counter out of this. I give a Jozu. They're going to swing for 5. Okay, just going to give them a 1K. And now it looks like they had 7 Dawn left. Pause. Yep, so they had 7 cost an L in hand. They were going to try to take us out next turn. Good game to my opponent, but the better play this turn, for those who are not aware, is everything you can into board. Well, actually, excuse me. I guess they couldn't swing anything into board because I have 6K and 7Ks on the board. But anyway, the thing that they needed to do in this situation was actually like play out like a Port Gosti ace to gain life and go about things from there. And then he could stand. Actually, he can't even stand anything up on his side of the board, guys. It has to be a 3 to 8 cost Supernova card. So whatever the case is, good game to my opponent there. They got stuck in a really rough position. But Yellow Eustace Kid is a very tough matchup for Blue Doffy, guys, even though this game might have not seemed like it was. Okay, now we got one more game of Blue Doflamingo here. This is kind of like a bonus game, I guess, versus Nami. I don't know how old this is. Yeah, I'll say there is still Jinbe in this one, but again, this is more like a bonus game here. So volume is off, speed is on 2x, and here we go. So this is an older game here where we did still have access to Jinbe, but hey, we gotta get through these games at some point. So we're gonna play out the buggy, set our cards the way we want them, and I will say this, guys, with Nami seeing a little bit more action on the in the competitive scene. Maybe now's the time to start, people will probably start messing around with Doffy more because I think Doffy has a very good matchup into Blue Nami. Now, they did get the 1-cost Nami, and if I was able to set a 4-cost Trafalgar Law, we would have really hurt them there. Okay, but now they're going to get to swing in with the Nami. Seems good. They swing for 1 into 5. It's just to search a card. That's all it does. And here we go. They search up the card. We just take the hit because it can't do anything. They're going to play out a Sanji's Pilaf. They're going to pass the turn back. We're going to swing 2 into 1. Let's see if he wants to save it. He does not. That's good for us. He only had 1 Dawn left, by the way. So now we're going to swing for 6. Okay, he only has 1 Dawn. He's going to use his he used a Rubber Band of Doom, which milled a Love Beam. We're going to go and play out a Jinbe, playing out a Mihawk. They're going to go 5 into 2. That's fine. Pass the turn back. And we're just going to fill out our board here, guys. That's the main thing we're trying to do. Okay, we play out the Boa here. We're setting cards the way we need them. Okay, and I think what I really want to do next turn here is use the Pudding. I think that's my play here. I might just pass the turn here. Okay, so we set the cards the way we needed them, and we're just going to pass the turn back. We're not in any rush to win this game, right? We're not in any rush. Okay, they just drew a card. Well, time to play out Pudding. There goes all their cards. How many cards do they have, guys? Let's see. All right, we got to do a little bit of math here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this Charlotte Pudding ended up being a 1 for 9. For those who might be like, well, no, it's just a 1 for 4, right? No. All of their cards are random now. Like, you got to remember, it hits every card in their hand. They draw 5 new random cards. So, yeah, it's true they might draw some decent cards. Maybe they fix their hand in some rare situations, right? But here's the thing. For those who are not aware of how Nami works, like the leader we're playing against, the blue leader Nami, we just added 4 cards to their win condition. Okay? And we messed up the bottom of their deck where they were setting cards from their search. So we messed up their search. We just added 4 cards to their deck, and we took 4 cards away from their hand. That was a 1 for 9 with this one Charlotte Pudding play right here. We are so far ahead at this point that I would not have been like upset or surprised if my opponent just scooped after that. It's that much of an advantage. It's that much of an advantage. Okay, now we're going to smash in for 7s. We're going to get every card from their hand now. They're going to use a white snake right away. That's fine with me. Now we're going to swing for... I think we should just swing for 6 and see if he wants to use more white snakes. How many did he get? Okay, that tells us he got none of them. We're going to do a draw 2, trash 2 with that effect there. We're just coming in for 6s on top of 6s on top of 6s. There's a Nami, and now we're coming in for 7. They're down to 2 life. Your turn. They still only have 5 cards there. Now, they did get a Margaret. That seems pretty good. They're going to go 5 into here. I do want to save this. They only have 2 Dawn left for the turn. Pass. So let me just explain something real quick, guys. We would have just literally swung in. Well, actually, we might not have swung in first, believe it or not. We probably were going to play out that 4-cost Trafalgar Law to bounce the Boodle back to hand. This card right here next to the Margarets. So this Boodle card on KO will make it where they get to mill a card. Okay, now the game wasn't even close, don't get me wrong. We probably could have just ignored that effect entirely, but it wouldn't have been the worst play in the world to just bounce back the Boodle. And then watch this. Okay, so now that would only be 4 Dawn, right? And we're going to be on a 10 Dawn turn now. We get to swing in for 6s across the board. I think they just lose because, okay, so I would still have 5 attacks left, right? At 6 or higher. So blocker's gone, life's gone, life's gone. They would have to get out of 2 of those attacks. That's the only way they could survive is if they get out, excuse me, if they get out of 1 attack. They have to get out of 1 attack. But either way, good game to my opponent. That was just a bonus one at the end there. I just wanted to showcase just how strong Charlotte Pudding is into certain situations. Good game to my opponent, though. That was a fun one. Okay, let's check out the deck list one more time. I do think, especially into that Shanks matchup, it would have been nice if we could have had just like 1 or 2 more blockers in the deck. And who knows, I don't think I got a ton of value from Gravity Blade. The only time I got some big value from Gravity Blade was actually versus the purple Luffy, which is not terrible. But maybe I can go. But see, I do like the Red Rock. One thing I want to say, guys, is this Red Rock right now is so strong. Against Shanks, you just chain Red Rocks. It's your only chance. Like, attack in aggressively like you normally would on the early turns. But when they start going like 8-cost Dragon and 8-cost Rayleigh into 10-cost Shanks into 10-cost Shanks, you just have to be able to match fire with fire and then still get your attacks in across the board if you can, or leader effect or whatever, getting value from your teaches if they survive and stuff like that. It's like your only chance. I think it's also good to have Gecko Moria in that matchup to be able to pull back cards like Boa Hancock or Teach or whatever they choose to remove. So I am a big fan of this Gecko Moria here, and I'm also a huge fan of Red Rock because I think it helps out our worst matchups the best. You guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. Okay. But moving forward, I think I will go -1 Gecko Moria, just -1 here. And I could even see myself going down maybe -1 2K counter, or even -1 Boa. Because hear me out. I want to go -1 Boa, and then I want to probably go +2 of this Doflamingo here to have a little bit more ways to adjust the top of my deck. Because remember, I'm removing 1 Boa, and that helps adjust the top of the deck as well. But this would help out in a few ways. I would go -1 4-cost 6K body in the deck, but I'd go +1 1K counter. So I get even more, or even less bricks in the deck, and I go +1 blocker as well, right? Because I lose 1 blocker here, but I go up 1 here, but then I lose 1 blocker with Gecko, and I go +1 here. I'm a big fan of this card. I think it's very good. Now, in the place of the Gravity Blade Raging Tiger, I think if I do any more testing in the near future, I will probably be going +2 of the Doflamingo. I think this card is actually very nice. It's very annoying for your opponent to deal with. It's a 7-cost 7K, and it bounces a 7-cost character that's very, very relevant. So in other words, if they have a Sanji on the board, you can bounce that out of the way. If they have a Ben Beckman, you can bounce that. It's not the best play in the world because they're probably going to punish you next turn again with it, but it doesn't matter if it slows them down enough, right? Because a lot of times they don't want to go, okay, Beckman into Beckman. They want to go like Beckman into Rayleigh. You know what I mean? So if you could just bounce their card out of the way and keep flooding your board to the best of your ability with cards like the Marshall D Teach and stuff like that, then I think there could be an argument here to even bounce something, even if it is a Beckman, right? Or even if it is a 7-cost Luffy Taro. Like, sure, let them use more cards from their hand because I'm still just bashing in every turn. And then next turn, who knows, maybe I Gravity Blade, or Red Rock them. You never know. So there is something to consider there. But this is kind of the direction I'm feeling going with. This is the direction I'm trending towards with this deck. Tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. I'm not trying to pretend like I have the best list out there, guys, but I do recommend this list. I think it's very solid. I think it's very strong. Okay? All right, I'm done. Tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. Hope y'all enjoyed. Let me get the outro page on here real quick. Okay. All right. Thank you to everybody who supports the channel, guys, whether you're liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing, whatever you're doing, using my TCG Player affiliate link, donating through Patreon, PayPal, or whatever donations, Playmat supporters, YouTube members, Discord community, however you guys are helping me out, I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Keeping the channel going, keeping the dream alive, as I like to say over here on the VV Theory. Okay? Again, I really want to hear what y'all have to say down in the comment section below. We know Doflamingo's still around, right? I still had him, I'll probably be doing a new tier list soon because I had him in like the top 30. He's probably still realistically like in the top 15, top 20. And I have more to say about that. Some people might say, like, yeah, but I think he's, won a recent regional. It's like, well, you have to remember, guys, with the deck seeing that much representation, because Doflamingo is still seeing a lot of representation in these tournaments because it is a solid deck. But at the same time, you'd expect that kind of representation for at least someone someone to make it through and win, right? You know, someone's bound to get some good matchups or play well enough one day or see good enough draws and whatnot to make it through. So it doesn't surprise me that Doffy's still winning. But what does surprise me is how many people are still playing it. I think that's really where my surprise is at the most. But when EB02 comes out, which is coming up pretty soon here, when EB02 comes out, I'm probably going to update my tier list and we'll talk more about Doffy then, because who knows, maybe with Green Purple Luffy hopping into the show, you know, maybe, you know, some things might change up. So we'll talk more about that when we get to it. All right, I'm done. Hope y'all enjoyed. Please don't forget to like, subscribe. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put those down in the comment section below or hop on the VV Theory Discord. Link is in the channel description. One more thing I do want to say at the end here. Thank you to everybody who has made it this far into the video. We do still have locals on the VV Theory Discord. Guys, let me, hang on. This thing's probably a little bit outdated, but let me go ahead and put this on the screen real quick and move my face over to here. We are staying busy over here on the VV Theory, guys. We still do a video every single day, Monday through Sunday, and then we have a stream Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday here on YouTube, right? We do it from 9 p.m. Eastern to 12 a.m. every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, we have Discord locals. And let me tell you something right now, guys. Last night, which I'm recording this on Sunday on the 20th. Happy Easter to everybody, right? I should have said that in the beginning. But anyway, during the, what was I about to say? Okay, last night on the 19th, okay, we had 32 or 34 players in a Discord locals, guys. It's a lot of fun. Be sure to not miss out on something like that, okay? All right, I'm done. Hope y'all enjoyed. Till next time, peace.